Today on Bridge City News, most of the federal party leaders had a low-key day today as they prepare for tomorrow's English language leaders debate. Jagmeet Singh lined up some advice from former NDP leader Ed Broadbent. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau did do some campaigning today, though, in Ontario, as he defended his party's record on agriculture and climate change. And Lethbridge Police deployed the K9 unit to arrest a knife-wielding man trying to break into multiple homes early Saturday morning.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition with Paul Arthur.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Lethbridge Police responded early Saturday morning at around 5 a.m. to a report of a male attempting to break into a number of residences in the Fairmont area while holding a large butcher knife. At one of the homes, the owner caught the man in the act, but he fled the scene on foot. Police used service dog Robbie to track him down, and the dog apprehended the man. 20-year-old Mitchell shot both sides, was treated and released from the hospital. He is facing numerous charges and remains in custody. Police in Calgary say a suspect has been arrested in connection with nearly 20 nighttime break-ins in the past month. In the latest incident early yesterday morning, police allege an intruder brandishing a knife when confronted by a homeowner and then fled in the homeowner's vehicle. Police say residents were home during many of the break-ins. 18-year-old Harmandeep Sidhu remains in custody to face criminal charges. Over 200 cities and towns across Canada today participated in an event called Life Chain. Every year, the event features a line of silent demonstrators holding up pro-life signs to draw attention to the sanctity of life message. A good number took part here in Lethbridge, lining up along Mayor McGrath Drive. Currently, Canada is one of the only countries in the world that does not have any abortion laws in place, making abortion legal to the point immediately before birth. Polls indicate the majority of Canadians are not aware of this. Lethbridge and Coaldale voters will have the chance to hear from every local federal candidate this week. The Lethbridge All Candidates Forum will be held tomorrow from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at the Yates Theatre, and the forum in Coaldale will take place on Tuesday starting at 7 p.m. at the Coaldale Community Centre. A baby giraffe born at the Calgary Zoo last week has died. The zoo says in a Facebook post that the male calf that was born last Sunday to an 8-year-old Maasai giraffe named Amara passed away Friday night. Amara had 3 previous pregnancies, but 2 ended in miscarriages, and a third produced a calf that died due to birth defects. The zoo is also saying goodbye to its 2 panda cubs with a farewell party today. The 2 cubs are being sent to a breeding program facility in Chengdu, China. However, their parents will remain in Calgary until 2023. The upcoming 2020 provincial election campaign has been the focus of the 2-day Saskatchewan Party Convention held at Evraz Place in Regina this weekend. Premier Scott Moe says cities will be a priority. The Saskatchewan NDP have won the last 3 urban by-elections, but Moe says his Saskatchewan Party will focus its efforts to ensure they are on the doorsteps, listening to people. Besides seats in Saskatoon and Regina, he says they will be paying attention to ridings in Moose Jaw and Prince Albert. Meanwhile, according to a Saskatchewan MLA, the Premier still wants her to remain in caucus while she deals with assault charges. Nadine Wilson is facing 2 counts of assault, but the charges are headed to a mediation hearing, not criminal court. Speaking at the party's convention last night, Premier Scott Moe said that Wilson has been in caucus since 1999 and has maintained her innocence with respect to the charges. As the clock ticks down towards a strike by thousands of Ontario education workers tomorrow, parents are frantically looking for childcare in case ongoing negotiations fall through. At least 24 school boards across the province have said they are unable to hold classes if the 55,000 workers, including janitors, clerical staff, and early childhood educators, walk off the job on Monday. Talks between the Canadian Union of Public Employees and the province are continuing today. A new cafe in Montreal is set to open next month, named after a controversial bilingual greeting. Bonjour, hi has been embraced by retail workers in the city to welcome a diverse clientele, but the Quebec government has been trying to ban the greeting in the wake of 2 unanimous motions in the legislature forcing store clerks to stick with a simple bonjour when greeting customers. The province's language watchdog says the use of bonjour, hi doubled between 2010 and 2017. Inuit are hoping to use the alphabet to create a standard way to write their language from the Northwest Territories to Labrador. The new orthography, adopted last month by Canada's National Inuit Organization, replaces 9 different scripts. Circles and squares are gone, as are squiggles above and below the letters. All characters are based on the 26-character Roman alphabet. Before European contact, Inuktitut only existed in oral language. Day 26 of the election campaign involves a lot of studying by the federal party leaders for tomorrow night's English language debate. But Liberal leader Justin Trudeau is forsaking debate prep in favor of spending the day in Plainfield, Ontario, where he touted his government's environmental and agricultural record.
We know that we move forward with a Minister for Rural Economic Development, Bernadette Jordan, to make sure that rural Canadians have a seat at the table and see exactly what investments we've been making, from infrastructure like highways and floodplains and flood mitigation measures, to investments in broadband and the kinds of future that we know people in remote, northern and rural communities need. We are going to continue to be there for them. What we've seen is consistently Conservative governments over the years cut flood mitigation and water protection. The Conservatives cut the Prairie Farm Rehabilitation Agency. They have consistently not supported our farmers, and we have done exactly that. Whether it was securing free trade deals that give better access to farmers in Canada, for example, to our cattle farmers, to the Japanese market than the Americans have, whether it's been protecting supply management in the renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement against a Trump government that stated from the beginning they wanted to get rid of Canada's supply management. We have consistently stood up for rural Canadians, and we will continue. And the choice facing rural Canadians is, do we keep moving forward with a responsible plan for the future, or do we accept a government whose first act is going to be to tear up the only serious plan any Canadian government has ever had to fight climate change?
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh enlisted the help of former NDP leader Ed Broadbent during an election stop in Ottawa this morning, where the two toured a farmers market.
Good to see you. Hey.
Any advice for him in the leaders' debate tomorrow?
To be himself and to repeat what he did in the French debate, which I thought was, I'm not exactly an expert in French, but I followed the debate the whole time, and he did superbly, and if he repeats that, he'll be a winner for sure.
You know, I always say this to Ed, and Ed knows this. I say to him that I want to be like him when I grow up. He's been such a great mentor and a guide, and so supportive. I know that's like a lot of weight on the shoulders of someone to be able to help out the next generation, and he's doing a great job, and I'm really honored. I think, listen to Mr. Broadbent. He's the expert here. He said be myself, so I'm going to try my best. But what we've really tried to do in this campaign is to be the voice for people.
A second whistleblower has spoken to the American intelligence community's internal watchdog about President Donald Trump's dealings with Ukraine. The lawyer for the original whistleblower says the new one also works in intelligence and has first-hand knowledge that supported his client. That complaint stated Trump used the power of his office to get help from a foreign country in next year's election. Trump and his supporters deny he did anything improper. Portugal is holding a general election today, with the center-left Socialist Party widely expected to win. The Socialists have presided over an economic recovery, with unemployment being cut half to 6% over its term. The main opposition Socialist Democrats are still associated with deep spending cuts and a 3-year recession when it was in power. The Socialists may not clear a majority, which means they will have to build alliances with smaller left-of-center parties. Israeli archaeologists say they've discovered a 5,000-year-old city 50 kilometers north of Tel Aviv. The country's antiquities agency says it was discovered during preparations for a highway project. Authorities describe the site as a cosmopolitan and planned city of 6,000 people that dates to the early Bronze Age. Saudi Arabia's tourism authority has issued new guidelines allowing women to rent hotel rooms without a male guardian's presence. Foreign men and women can now share a room without proof of marriage. The easing of regulations comes after Riyadh launched its tourist visa scheme to help diversify its oil-based economy. The Saudi Commission for Tourism and National Heritage announced the new requirements today on Twitter. Recapping one of our top stories this hour, Lethbridge police had to deploy a canine unit to arrest a knife-wielding man trying to break into multiple homes in the Fairmont area early yesterday morning. And a look at weekend weather. A few clouds overnight with a low of +4. For tomorrow, mainly sunny with a west wind gusting from 40 to 70 and a high of 15 degrees. With the federal election only a couple of weeks away, Hal Roberts has been interviewing our local Lethbridge candidates on their party platforms. Shandy Blyken is the NDP candidate. That interview is next. But first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here is your Bridge City News community calendar. Come out and support a worthy cause. The Blue Rain Ranch Animal Assisted Therapy Foundation Benefit Dinner and Auction is taking place on Saturday, October 19th at the Community Hall in Fort Macleod, with cocktails being served at 5:30 p.m. and dinner beginning at 6. Come dressed in your best Western wear and enjoy live music by Duo Grand Fiddle and Guitar. For tickets, call 403-894-9160. And for event details, visit bridgesofhope.com. The Galt Museum and Archives is hosting a Halloween Spooktacular on Saturday, October 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. Come for a family-friendly afternoon where you can play games, decorate a pumpkin, make a trick-or-treat bag, and other fun crafts. Plus, go on a tour of the building, hear spooky ghost stories, and enjoy free popcorn and caramel apple slices. Admission is free. For details, visit galtmuseum.com. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.